Hello and welcome, visual learners. Red Panda here again. As we left off last time, we had made this external world space, and we had a few little problems we needed to fix. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do that. But first, I probably should have showed you this before I actually got started in my last one. But there's a problem that I've noticed and I've had a lot of trouble with in Skyrim when I've been creating these worlds. The textures always seem to come up black and there's holes missing, all kinds of crazy problems. So I'm just going to go ahead and show you that real quick. I'm going to make sure that my test ESP file is open or active, and I'm going to go ahead and hit play in Skyrim, and that should pop up a little window for me, and we'll get to play in that a little bit. I'm trying out a little bit of music. You guys can let me know if it's good or bad. Yes to the music or no to the music. Alright, now that we got this all set up, I'm going to hit the tilde key, or the key on the right next to the 1 on your keyboard. I'm going to write COC test cell. That will get us loaded right up into our world that we've created. Now right away you can see, holy crap, this is horrible. Big holes everywhere, and you know, all the textures are black. I've had a lot of headache with this, and I've really, been looking and searching, trying to figure out how to fix this. It's kind of seemed like a lot of other people didn't have this problem, and you may not. This could be just my my version of the creation kit does this, but fortunately, this is kind of like that little box that pops up that tells you that there's errors. You don't actually need to worry about it. It's a problem that actually fixes itself as you create things in your world. So if you have that happen, don't freak out. Don't get too frustrated with the creation kit. Just go ahead and keep working with it, and just keep building, and that kind of sorts itself out. At least it has in my testing. So let's go ahead and fix these creases that we have. I'll show you how to do that real quick. We're going to use the landscape editor, so you can go in here, world landscape editing, or you can hit the H key on your keyboard. There's also this button right here that is landscape editing. I like to use H on my keyboard. You have to make sure this window is selected, hit H, and there we go. I have now got this round cursor, and I'm able to paint with that. Right now it's at 10. I'm probably going to drop that down to about 3. Make it quite a bit smaller. One quick note with the radius: if that is any higher than 15, for me, my creation kit crashes. So be careful with that. I'm actually going to be using the Soften Vertices brush. If you check that box, it turns this brush into a kind of a smudge tool, or whatever you want to call it. So you're able to take that, go ahead and left click, and it'll real easily just get rid of those seams. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that real quick. Looks like that one didn't go very far. Just going to swipe right across that real fast and easy. And we'll follow this one up. If you ever get to a point where you're clicking and nothing's happening, it's because you're too far away and you need to get a little bit closer to continue painting. So just going to fall that right off into the water. Now that might actually continue into the water. I'm not completely sure, so you can zoom down in here and take a look. Looks like it actually doesn't, but the easy way to do that, rather than actually zooming underneath the water, is hit Shift W, and that will actually hide all the water for you. So I'm going to come over here and make sure that that crease doesn't actually go into the water. So that looks like it does a little bit over here. So I'm going to go ahead and soften that up. And having the water gone is actually really nice for being able to paint down on the ocean floor. And you can see that I painted these kind of like really crazy deep things going on over here. So I'm actually going to up my brush to about 5, and I'm just going to go ahead and a little bit too far away. If you paint straight down, you generally get a better, you're usually not too far away. I'm just going to go ahead and flatten that out a little bit so it's not so crazy deep. Generally, the ocean floor isn't that crazy. Go to hit Shift W again, get my water back. Alright, so that's the flatten vertices tool, or the soften vertices tool. I'll probably actually flatten this out a little bit more using that, just holding the mouse button and dragging around. I kind of like this little protrusion, so I'm going to leave it there. Now I'm going to turn that off, and I actually want to start pushing some of this land down. I might go up to about a 7. I kind of want this to slope down a little bit more gradually, and it's not quite doing that, so I'm just going to push it down like this, just by clicking and dragging. You're able to push and pull the land up and down. It really feels like you're working with clay when you're doing this, so it's really a lot of fun. Very creative, juices flowing going on. So I'm going to kind of make it look something like that. I like that. Okay, I'm not going to take too much time doing this. I'll go back to my soften vertices, and I'll just kind of make it look like a nice area that you could walk down right into the water. So that's the soften vertices. There are a couple of tutorials on how to use these brushes out there as well. I'm just going to show you how to use them real quick. So let's say out here I want to add maybe another island. So I'm just going to actually turn off the water, and I'm going to bring up a little bit of land just so it's out of the water. Turn the water back on, and now I'm going to use the flatten vertices tool, and I probably want it to be just above the waterline. So I'm going to click down here, and what the soften or flatten is, it will take all the land around it and bring it to that level quite quickly. So there we go, I've got a little island out here. It's kind of nice. I'm going to soften again, and I'll probably just kind of fix that up a little bit so it's not so jagged. Turn them all off, and just kind of raise and lower the land a little bit so it's not just a stark flat little island out here. I could put some trees out here, maybe a treasure chest or something, so the player's actually going to have to swim out to this island and see what's here. So that's kind of cool. Be careful about getting the land too close to the water line, even if it's even if you can just barely see it there. You can kind of see the fragmentation. When you get in game, you'll be able to see the water kind of popping through the land a little bit, and it looks really weird. So don't get too close. Don't get too close to the water line with that. Alright, now that we've done that, I've showed you pretty much all the tools you need to know about to edit your land. So I'm just going to go ahead and start throwing some objects in here and show you how you can start making this look like a real island. I'm going to hit Control S to save my work, and now if you had all these closed, we're going to go into our object window, World Objects, go to Static, and then get your Landscape open. Also get your trees open and Landscape in there as well. That'll give you both the plants and the trees. Just nice, instead of just here and you have all of them, you can be like, I want a plant. Okay, here's tall forest fern. I can throw that down there. It's really small. If you ever drop something into the world and it's really far away and you want to get close, you can hit Shift F, and that will take you right to it, which is nice. You can see just with that, you can see how big this island really is. Because if you were standing next to that bush, it'd be at about shin height, I guess. So that gives you a little bit of an idea of the size and scope of things. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit, and I'm going to get into my mountains. And in here we have mountain cliffs, and we have slopes, and the one I'm looking for is the peaks, because I want to work on this mountain a little bit. So we have this peak here, but it doesn't really look that great. So I'm going to grab this peak 1, drop it in there, and it's a really large piece. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit Z, left click, kind of drop it down into the landscape a little bit. A lot of these pieces have open spots in the back, so you just kind of have to work with them and put another piece behind there just to kind of work it out and make it fit. So I'll probably put that something like that. So that's looking a little better already. Right there you can see that that piece that I put in has disappeared. This is something kind of strange with the creation kit. Sometimes as you're running around and loading, things will disappear. So go ahead and hit F5, and that will actually refresh the page or the cell view window, and now you can have your pieces back in there. So I'm going to do that. Let's grab a cliff mountain slope. We'll rotate that around, and maybe I'll kind of pull it out and drop it down a little bit. I actually kind of like how that looks, sticking up like that. It's pretty cool. But now we have this big open space in the back, and I'd like that not to be there. So we can go ahead and H, and I'm just going to just pull this land right up to it real quick. So that real fast, simple and easy fixes placing objects like this. So I'm just kind of checking the edges, making sure none of my seams are sticking out. That looks pretty good. Close that. And maybe we'll grab another cliff slope. There's a cliff slope small. It's a little bit bigger than what I was wanting. So I might actually just scale it down. If you hold S and right click and move your mouse around, you can scale down objects. You don't want to go too far from its original size. So it's actually this size. I wouldn't recommend going any smaller than that. You'll start getting a lot of bugs and fragmentation and things like that that'll start popping up. So I think we'll kind of rotate it around and drop it in something like that. I like that. Hit H again, and I'm just going to bring the land up to it once again. Put together. Okay. I think that'll actually soften this down a little bit, so it doesn't look too crazy. Turn it off. I got a little seam right there I need to fix. Too far away, can't quite get to it. Bring that land right up to it. Alright, there we go. That's looking good. Alright, now as we're doing this, we can kind of see that wherever we have these rocks, they kind of just pop out and it's really stark, and it doesn't. The difference between the actual rock and the landscape is really stark. And I'd like that to be a little bit less stark. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually paint in some textures in here. You do that in the landscape editor, come down. I'm going to move this over so I can actually read what they are. I think I'm going to come all the way down to rocks. You have a couple different types of rocks. You have rocks, a texture that actually has little pebbles sticking up out of it, which is what I'm going to use. I'll probably paint with about 5. And now you paint with the right mouse button. So I'm just going to right mouse click in here and kind of paint that around. Now you notice if you get real close to it, it kind of has little rocks poking up out of it. So if you use the rocks, no rocks texture, you might actually be able to see it because grass isn't actually on. There we go. So if you turn your grass off, the rocks are the same as the grass, but you can see right here the rocks are turning on and off. Actual little rocks that are poking up out of the texture. You can see those. So that's the difference between the no rocks texture right here and the rocks texture up here. So you probably want to kind of go back and forth between those two, break up your seams a little bit. So I'm just going to kind of paint this all over around where these rocks are, just to help it blend in a little bit better. I forgot that I had a... No, I don't actually have that there. I do that all the time and be like, oh, I missed a spot. But get used to hitting F5, because I didn't actually miss a spot, that piece had disappeared. So get used to hitting F5 to bring those back really fast. Probably just going to drop that all the way down into the water, actually. A little bit there. So I'm just kind of texturing around my rocks here. I don't like that rock sticking up right there, so I'm going to just cover it up real quick. So now that you've kind of seen my workflow that I do for adding pieces and such to this world space, you'll be able to just go ahead and start adding your own flavor of how you're going to do things. The one last thing that I want to show you real quick is actually setting yourself up a palette. So let's say we like using the rocks. I'm going to drop this down to 3. So I'm going to paint the rocks a little bit right here. I'll grab the rocks, no rocks, paint a little bit right there. And let's say I like the pine forest. I'll draw a little bit of the pine forest, and I'll draw a little forest with grass so you can see where that is. And I'll probably be using some of the coast. I use the beach too, so I'll drop that on there. So now I kind of set up myself a little palette right here, which is really nice. As opposed to scrolling through here and picking all the ones that you want, you just pick them, draw them, and if you hit Control and right click, you're able to select whatever texture is on the ground. So as I right click on that one, you can see that it changed. So I can real quickly, now that I have that palette set up, I can say, oh, okay, I want some of this grass over here right next to this. Paint it right in real fast. Oh, I'd like some of this, and paint it over there, or next to it. And you can paint your textures really fast that way. One more thing to consider is you can have no more than 5 textures. It actually depends on the texture. Sometimes it's 5, sometimes it's 4. No more than 5 or 4 textures in a cell at any one time. So if I grab this grass snow right here and I paint it, notice how it turns black. It still gives the grass there, but the texture turns black and that looks awful. The reason being is there's too many textures in this one area. So the only way to fix that is go pick one of the ones that you already have and paint over the top of that. So if you ever have that happen, just know that you have too many textures in the same spot. You'll just have to grab one and kind of fill it back in, just like that. Alright, so that's pretty much all you need to know for this tutorial. Hit F5 to get your things back, and that should get you started. I'm going to go ahead and save this out, and we'll do one more test in our creation kit, or in our Skryim, and I'll show you that things are kind of starting to sort themselves out now that we've done some work in here, and just so that you know that you don't have to freak out, and know that as you work, things will kind of sort themselves. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the tilde key, COC test cell, get that loaded up. You can see there's still problems. There's still holes in places, but our textures are back. Or our textures are here now. And the mountain looks crazy, so there are problems going on, but some have gotten worse, some have gotten better. So this is just kind of how the creation kit works. Just know that that's how it works, and as you work and do things, it seems like the more objects you put in here, the better it's able to fix itself. So don't freak out, just go ahead and have fun, work with it. And yeah, that's it. Enjoy, and I will see you next time.